This week, Nintendo held their first major Nintendo Direct of 2022. Honestly, heading into it, I didn't expect too much because this year is already packed with releases. So I even said on Twitter, they only need a couple of surprises for the rest of the entire year, in my opinion, to just take it to that next insane level, where we're talking about it potentially being, Nintendo's best year of all time. And we got more than that in this Direct. I want to just say real quick before I get into it, I actually am re-recording this intro. I recorded the audio for this video yesterday, meant to post it yesterday, but I had some family stuff going on, so I wasn't able to get it posted, so you're going to hear me talking about the Direct as if it just happened yesterday. Even though I am getting older, the dementia isn't that bad yet, guys, okay? It started off with a brand new game announcement, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. As you can probably assume, a new Warriors-style game centered around characters from 3 houses. I know these Warrior games in general are hit or miss with people, but I've always had a soft spot for Dynasty Warriors, and I've mostly liked these Nintendo Warriors games. I thought Age of Calamity was overall a big step up in terms of game quality for them, so I'm hoping they can kind of continue to build off of that with this, while also maybe having more of an engaging story with the focus, being centered around 3 houses instead of a, like Smash Everyone is Here type deal as they did in the earlier Warriors games. And that is releasing this year, June 24th. And sticking with June, we got another announcement that will help kick off the summer. A brand spanking new Mario Strikers Battle League. I've been wanting another one of these games for forever. I've been complaining definitely since Aces about it, because I remember when Mario Tennis Aces came out, I was like, really? We're going to get another tennis game and still no new Strikers? And, I really liked Aces. I love the Mario sports games in general. I can't get into Sims, your FIFA and that. But the arcadey party style of Mario sports games, I'm down for that all day. You're going to have gear in this game that you can use to customize not only the look of your characters, but attributes as well. I hope they do like a skin mode where you can, display certain items, but, have the stats of other ones equipped, because I feel like the dress up is going to get fun with some of these cosmetics on specific characters. Something I thought was pretty crazy is that it will support 8 players in 4v4 matches on one Nintendo Switch. I thought they were going to pass that off as like a LAN type deal, 4 players on each, but no, 8 players on one single system. Also, a bevy of online functionality, including clubs where you can group up with friends and like battle each other for rankings. This instantly, as soon as it was announced, became one of my most anticipated games of the year, and finally, I can stop asking for it. I guess immediately I have to move on to something else. I guess Sluggers is going to have to be the next Mario sports series that we complain about needing a new game in the franchise. And like I said, this is another June release, June 10th. So if you're wondering how packed this year is for Switch games, the Direct had 2 big announcements early that released just a couple weeks apart. There's not even room to spread out anymore. We're also getting a new Wii Sports, Nintendo Switch sports game. Pretty much exactly what you'd expect from these types of releases. A variety of different sports mini-games. You can use your Miis in that. You're going to actually be able to use the leg strap, like from Ring Fit Adventure, to do soccer shootouts. Should result in some good videos of wandering toddlers getting annihilated, hopefully. The thing I wanted to point out about this announcement, though, it didn't really have anything to do with the game. I wanted to say I like that they had the little bit with Takahashi and Koizumi playing, or at least acting, like they were playing the game. I've said for a while, I miss some of the lighter feel of old school Directs with all the shenanigans that Iwata, Reggie, and Bill would get up to. Not saying I need the full-on, multiple skits with a continuing narrative thread running throughout a single Direct. They got a little out of hand at times, but it's little things like this, making things feel more lighthearted that I think Nintendo has nailed in the past, but hasn't done much of recently. Like, they had that bit with Doug Bowser and real Bowser with the tie and being like, I'm the Bowser president, but, he hasn't really done much else besides that. I'd like to see more of these kinds of things in the directs. Anyway, the game Nintendo Switch Sports releases April 29th. In terms of some of the smaller games I wanted to touch on, Klonoa 1 and 2 getting a remastered set. These are 2D platforms with 3D visuals, and I gotta say, I think they look great. Much better, I think, than the initial remake we got on the Wii. I definitely hope people give that one a chance. With a bunch of these kind of forgotten mascots getting revivals, Crash getting Crash 4, KO the Kangaroo is getting a new game. Would be cool if this kind of led to a Klonoa revival. Also, Live Alive, not a game I've personally played, but one I've heard a lot about, getting an official localization, a remake. This is an RPG where you play as different characters in like different time periods. I always love these like HD 2D pixel style graphics. Definitely going to be checking that one out, as I've heard, again, great things about the original. In a similar vein, Project Triangle Strategy, we've seen this game about 1,000 times now, but we're getting another demo for it, and in that you're going to be able to play the game through Chapter 3, and it will be one of those deals where you can carry your save progress over into the full game. Whenever we get these demos, I like to point them out because we don't get many demos these days. And I love whenever you can transfer the save data over. It's like the best way to give the game a shot without throwing down money and even getting some progress in. Can't go wrong with that. So if you like RPGs, I loved Octopath Traveler. Should probably check that out. Also, Chrono Cross is getting an HD remaster, the Radical Dreamers Edition. It's nice to see this game get some love, I'll say. It obviously doesn't get the attention Chrono Trigger does. And I mean, let's be honest, deservedly so. Chrono Trigger is a GOAT game. Hopefully this will be a solid remaster. I've seen a lot of talk about the game not looking the greatest. And yeah, I'd agree. But that's kind of what's going to happen when you get a basic, pretty much remaster of a PS1 game. This isn't like a full-on remake. Those PS1 games, they're rough, man. Which, on the subject, I gotta say, I hope this brings us one step closer to a Chrono Trigger re-release, even remake. I'd love to see Chrono Trigger remade in like the style of the games I just previously mentioned. That like HD pixel art, I think that would be so sick. But for the Cross Boys, the day is finally yours. And speaking of legendary SNES games, someone must have finally told Nintendo that they have millions of people subscribed to their basic peasant-level Nintendo Switch Online service tier that haven't been fed any new NES or SNES games in almost 200 days. And we finally got two killers here. At last, Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings are being released on NSO. They came out that day. I am extremely glad to get them, but these are games that should have been here a long time ago. I just did that video complaining about Banjo-Kazooie, a Microsoft IP, being on NSO before Earthbound, and I also talked in that video about how there hasn't been SNES or NES games for so long. And I got people now, after this announcement hits, being like, oh, see, you did get them. You didn't even have to, like, complain about it. It's all good. It's like, this still doesn't negate anything in that video. Banjo-Kazooie still came to NSO before Earthbound. I don't care if it was a couple weeks or a couple days. I still think that's ridiculous. And in terms of finally getting new games at this tier, again, glad I have them, but when are the next ones coming? Am I going to be waiting another 200 days for 2 more games? And are they even going to be of this tier, this caliber? Are they going to be random trash? Again, to be clear, I think these are great additions, but that does not make up for how lackluster this service has been so far. And it's going to take a lot more than this to get me to change my mind about it. And while we're talking about things I can't stand, they had the audacity to talk once more about the Kingdom Hearts cloud versions in this Nintendo Direct. Nintendo, no one is buying these. Literally not a single person. So just stop trying to promote it. Acting like this trash, this garbage belongs alongside any of these other games. And staying on the subject of Disney, they announced that kart racer, Disney Speedsters, that honestly I thought looked solid. The characters and courses looked cool, high quality. It didn't look like a cheap cash grab. It's going to be multi-platform with crossplay, but it is free to play, which is good in terms of being able to try it for free. of course I'll try it, but there's always the concern about them nickel and diming you for carts, characters, and that, so I'll definitely be checking that out, but I tread lightly when it comes to free-to-play. It's very rare for me to be able to look past all the nickel and diming these types of games do and actually enjoy a free-to-play game. Which, if we're going to talk about kart racers charging you for stuff, we got to talk about how Mario Kart 9 dreams were obliterated during this Direct with the announcement that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is getting a boatload of DLC. 48 new courses are coming to the game over the next 2 years for $25. I don't want to talk too much about this here because I already posted a video specifically about this after the Direct yesterday. But basically, I think it's a fine value. I think some people are overhyping it, acting like, oh, they're basically giving us a new game for $25. Like, I mean, it's remastered courses. It seems like there's going to be no new characters, new items, no new mechanics, anything like that. That doesn't sound, at least to me, like a whole lot of new. Not trying to hate on it too much. I think the value is there. 48 courses, $25, certainly. But I also don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And my bigger concern, as I talk about in that video, is the live service vibes I get from this 2-year-long content rollout being applied to a game that's already 8 years old, especially with it being included with the expansion pack, which is a subscription. I think they're kind of testing the waters, putting some feelers out there with this game on how they might monetize games in the future. I worry about Nintendo's focus turning more towards maybe getting us to sub to their service and keep churning out content in the same games over and over rather than making new games. Obviously, I understand why this is going to make a ton of money with the massive install base this game has, but it's like, what's to stop them when this 2-year pass is done from doing a pass for Mario Kart 8 that lasts another 2 years and another? Doing one for Splatoon, $25. Hey, why are we even making new Mario games? Just keep adding levels to the ones that we already made for 10 plus years. I don't want that to get too crazy. Switching to things I have absolutely nothing negative to say about, we got another look at the new Kirby, or should I say Carby, because apparently he eats those now. They showed off this mouthful mode where you're going to be able to eat these super large items and take their shape to move around differently, as well as obviously have different abilities. Like I said, there was a car, a vending machine where you shoot out sodas, a traffic cone so you can protect drivers from road hazards, I guess. I mean, could we just give Kirby and the Forgotten Land Game of the Year already? I know there's a ton of great stuff coming. Hopefully Breath of the Wild 2 is making it out in 2022. And I know we haven't seen everything Breath of the Wild 2 has to offer, but are you going to be able to eat a car in it? I doubt it, and I rest my case. Metroid Dread got some new updates, a one-hit mode, which I already have PTSD from just watching the trailer for that, not even playing it. And on the other side of the coin, a game journalist mode, obviously for game journalists so they can beat the game. Too bad this didn't come out alongside the game, then they could have probably actually beaten it for their reviews. Dread is also going to be getting a boss rush mode later. Just great seeing this game getting more support. Like I say every time I talk about it, easily Game of the Year last year for anyone with a brain who played it. Just amazing across the board in terms of gameplay, visuals, story even for a Metroid game. Absolutely phenomenal. Then we had the big closer, which was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You could tell in the live chat, a lot of people were hoping for a Breath of the Wild 2 update to close things out, but man, this I thought looked great. Most of the trailer was cinematics. There were some quick shots of characters actually running around different environments, though, and they looked like quite an upgrade over what we've seen from this series on Switch so far. We'll have to see how the resolution and all that fares in this game. But considering that, while I was watching this, I was expecting them to hit us with the broad 2023, maybe a spring 2023 release date. I figured this might be a ways off, but no. September 2022. So I was expecting, again, a couple of big 2022 surprises being left for this year. But like I said at the beginning, we got more than that in this Direct. This year is officially insanely stacked in my opinion, especially if Breath of the Wild 2 does end up making it still this year. I mean, this will have to be one of, if not the best Nintendo year of all time. In terms of quality, certainly, because, you know, something like Kirby and the Forgotten Land, while I don't think it will sell as well, I can say I'm much more excited for this and think I'm going to enjoy it more than Mario Odyssey. Again, you never know till you play it, but I've absolutely loved everything we've seen for it so far. I could see it being my favorite Kirby game of all time, and perhaps even my favorite 3D platformer on the Switch. A variety from Mario Strikers to Xenoblade. Yeah, this year is just absolutely insane. Anyway, with that, this video is a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on the latest Nintendo Direct in the comments. What were the highlights for you? And how do you feel about this upcoming year for the Nintendo Switch? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.